Brothers and sisters, we are here this morning out of the cry of the people regarding the cost of living crisis. My aim today is to connect what is happening in our households and what is happening on the ground. Brothers and sisters, we are connecting that to what is happening inside of government that is supposed to serve you. I'm going to talk this morning about the cost of mismanagement. I'm going to speak to you and take my time to do so this morning, talking about the price that you are paying for the mismanagement in government. Brothers and sisters, since the NDC assumed office, we have seen a coordinated assault on the people of Grenada, homeowners and businesses alike. The government added VAT on sugar in their very first budget cycle. They increased the cost of electricity by reinstating taxes and non-fuel charges, which the NNP administration had removed to bring relief to the people. The onslaught did not end there. The government went further to introduce a renewable fuel charge on electricity. They introduced a levy and new charges on water, and more recently, added a new tariff on electricity. As the majority owner of Grenada, the government of Grenada is a decision maker, not a bystander. They choose to let the fuel subsidy expire without considering the struggles that families face daily to put food on their table. And to make matters worse, Grenadians may soon face higher water bills as rate of water is likely to increase. When the utility costs go up, the cost of everything else follows. It is a hidden tax on your basic goods and services. By refusing to manage these core utility costs, the government has triggered a domino effect that is making life unaffordable for the average Grenadian. People throughout the length and breadth of Grenada are paying the cost of this government's mismanagement. While the average Grenadian family is being told to tighten their belts, the government is loosening theirs. The government is currently running a deficit of over $300 million, spending monies that we don't have. But look at where it's going. While all this pressure is being placed on the people, government ministers took a 150% salary increase, giving workers 12%. They intentionally adjusted the fiscal responsibility rules to cater for themselves. With a deficit of over $300 million, the government sees it fit to procure new vehicles for members of parliament and even luxury vehicles for some government officials. Can we afford the additional maintenance cost of these vehicles? And the additional monthly fuel cost capped at the lower end at $72,000 per year just for government ministers. While they buy new vehicles with free fuel, they increase license fees for vehicle owners on the road, a maintenance charge. Look at the conditions of our roads. Vehicle owners are already struggling with the increased maintenance cost they are forced to pay. So yes, we know that there is imported inflation and that cost of living is increasing throughout the world. We know that. But when the very policies of your government sends a clear message of insensitivity and compounds the effects of the rising cost of living, resulting in hyperinflation, it is now unacceptable. It is unacceptable. It must never be excused, and it must never be justified. There continues to be a staggering rise in costs paid to external consultants and service providers, paying in advance, while our own local civil servants repeatedly experience delay in the payments of their salaries. Under this administration, wastage is spiraling out of control at the expense of the Grenadian taxpayer, the taxpayer who is already strangled by the rising cost of living. The government is wasting millions of dollars on projects because of poor planning and poor management. Taxpayers continue to foot the bill for this public wastage that we experience every day. Wastage that is becoming systemic and unchecked. Then there are the overrun expenditures for almost every infrastructure project, in some cases as much as 5 times over budget, like the Closure project. This is the mismanagement tax that people are forced to pay, being levied on every citizen of this country. Like the Cliff project, which has taken years, still not complete, and to use the Prime Minister's words, has been unacceptably very slow. The government has moved to add $7 million to a contract of $16.5 million. That's almost 50% more to finish less than 1 kilometer of road. If this remains within the revised budget, I will be surprised. The delay in this project is largely due to the failure of the Ministry of Infrastructure, which the Prime Minister himself heads. In the time that it took the government to pave 600 meters, a child has started and nearly finished preschool. The public is being forced to pay a premium price for the government's inability to manage simple projects. When a project takes 3 years instead of 1, or costs 500% more than promised, I repeat, taxpayers pay the cost. When the government spends over $17 million on Project 500, with only 17 model units to show, taxpayers pay the bill. Meanwhile, patients at our health system are without oxygen. Some ambulances are barely functional when emergencies arise. The fire service lack adequate trucks. These are the life and death infrastructure of a functioning state. The government cannot find relief for the fundamentals. Still, it can find millions of dollars to buy new vehicles for parliamentarians, pay for the Prime Minister to rent a private house, purchasing luxury vehicles, flying around the world first class. That is a choice, and Grenadians deserve to know that this choice was made by their government. We don't expect members of the government to feel your pain, but we do expect them to do their jobs. To ignore this crisis, which is getting worse every day, is to abdicate their responsibility as a government. To let this go unchallenged would be us abdicating our responsibility as an opposition. With all these things happening, I have been watching some public conversations carefully, and I see a troubling trend where some persons who are generally defensive of the government attempting to blame our cost of living crisis on external factors, saying that government's hands are tied and that we must just simply endure the hardship. External factors are real. Let's be clear about that. Supply chains remain fragile. That is true, but do not deny this. We all know that there is imported inflation that's contributing to the cost of living, contributing to the rising price of goods and services. But let me be clear, even clearer, on what that really means. It does not mean that the government is released from its obligation to bring relief and support to its people. It does not excuse the government from the decisions it has made that have added to the external factors, making it even more difficult for Grenadians to cope. Acknowledging that there is a storm outside does not entitle you to stand on the veranda and watch along till it arrives. A responsible government warns the public. A responsible government opens the shelters. A responsible government protects those that cannot protect themselves. The question is not whether global forces are real. The question is, what is the government doing about the part of this problem that lies in their hands? And the evidence suggests that the answer is very little for the people and quite a lot for itself. Our nation is taking very little steps to address this issue. Barbados negotiated a private sector price lockdown on essential items with closely monitored enforcement. Guyana is aggressively subsidizing farmers to kill the import bill. Brothers and sisters, we cannot allow our government to abdicate its responsibility. These leaders did not wait for the world to change. They changed their policies. The NNP administration understood this. We prioritize low taxation because we believe people's money belongs in their pockets, especially when there's hard times. We capped the price of gas at the pumps. We removed all taxes on electricity and reduced the non-fuel charge by 25%. We did something to bring relief. And on top of that, we left over $500 million in reserves, ensuring that Grenada will never have to face a crisis empty-handed. That is leadership. That is leadership. What is the government doing in a serious way to bring relief for the people? So when we challenge the government, we aren't asking for impossibilities. We are asking the government to do the part that is in their hand. We are therefore demanding of the government, 1, review and expand the price control list for essential food items. Remove VAT on sugar. Remove the levy on water that you have imposed, and remove VAT on electricity. None of these solutions are global. None of them require permission from international markets. They only require a decision from the Cabinet of Grenada right here at home. These simple actions can help bring relief to those who are struggling to cope. Our leaders are capable of doing more, and our people deserve better. I say to you this morning, members of the media, the listening public, when the new National Party returns to office, we would take immediate aggressive approach to reducing the cost of living. We will manage the economy with discipline. We will manage the national debt burden, ensuring that our state lives within its means, just as the people are forced to do at home. We will restore the NNP's legacy of low taxation, returning people's monies to their pockets. We will roll out more details in the coming weeks on the aggressive approach that we will take to reduce the cost of living when we return to office. Thank you.
Hello and hello again, ladies and gentlemen. It is always a pleasure for me to meet and greet like this. This is another of our meetings throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, referred to as NNP Connects. We are trying to connect with you and you with us. Let me say welcome to all those who are here, especially those who are listening to us online, because this meeting is being transmitted live, not only to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, but throughout the region and internationally. Let me say a very special welcome to the lady of the event, our candidate for the constituency of St. David, Ms. Nolan Thompson. And along with her, and sitting right close to her left, is our candidate for St. George South, young Christopher Diali. And if you just look to the other side, we have another candidate here, a neighbor of yours, the candidate for Southeast St. George, Brother Dwight Horsford. And sitting towards his right, a man that is no longer in the front line, but not forgotten. Your most recent NNP, your most recent NNP MP for the constituency. Let's give it up for Mr. Oliver Joseph, who is here with us. Of course, en route, we still have our political leader, who would arrive not too long from now. So welcome, everyone. We have been making that route throughout the country. We will continue. Next Wednesday, we are in Boca Secondary, St. George, Northeast. Right? So we keep moving. But as per usual, in the House of the New National Party, we believe that we must reverence God first in everything that we do, and then the rest comes after. And to acknowledge his presence among us tonight, I call on no other but Pastor Casimir Williams to please. Thomas, sorry. I have a Williams on my book, so I'm sorry that I'm mixing up. Thomas, Pastor Casimir Thomas. Sorry.
All right, so let us stand as we honor the Lord tonight. For me tonight is not calling the radio station, but is on calling on God. Amen? Let us pray. Father, we are so thankful to you for your goodness. Thank you for being our master, our God, our sovereign King of kings and Lord of lords. And dear Lord, we come tonight and we call upon you on behalf of our party. As Lord, as we come to this venue to have this meeting, NNP Connects, we ask and we seek your guidance tonight, your protection. We thank you, that God, that you're always on time, and we know that we can trust you. We know where we cannot go pray, could go there, and that you uncover all the secret of mankind, things that are just and things that are unjust. You know everything about it. And so, Father, we thank you that we can rely upon you, depend and trust you in everything. We pray especially for our nation tonight. We pray for our country. We ask that you would so strengthen the minds of our people. We know that sometimes they're in deep confusion. They're confused as to where to turn to. I pray, Lord, that they would turn always unto you, the eternal God and Father. We pray, Father, for our Prime Minister, that you would wake him up, that you'd give him wisdom as he guides this nation. We ask for your courage that, Father, even as we, some would not support him politically, but would love him and encourage him to do well, that when he does well, our country indeed will benefit. We thank you for political leader, the entire team of the New National Party. We ask, our Father, that you would guide her in a very special way. We thank you for all the team players. We thank you for our very own Sister Nolan Thompson. We ask that you would strengthen her, the team that has been elected to support her in this venture, that you would strengthen them as well. Give us truthfulness, honesty, give us pride as we do what we do according to your will. We give you praise, we give you honor. We pray for the moderator tonight and every aspect connected to this meeting tonight. Most of all, we trust you that you would bring us back to our various homes safely. We give you honor, glory. We give you praise in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.
And we thank you, Pastor Thomas, but we still stand because after God, we like to put country. And now I have to call on the Williams, which I was mixing up. Miss Julia Williams, she will lead us in the national anthem. We'll sing along with her.
Hail, Grenada, land of ours, we pledge ourselves to thee. Heads, hearts, and hands in unity to reach our destiny. Ever conscious of God, being proud of our heritage, may we with faith and courage aspire, build, advance as one people, one family. God bless our nation.
Working for my party, faithful I will be. I will fight with all my might, working for the NNP. So you can count on me, working for my party, faithful I will be. I will fight with all my might, working for the NNP.
So thank you very much, Ms. Williams. We were happy for that. Tonight, you have some speakers among us tonight, like every other night, that we have this NNP Connect meeting to speak on various issues and to remind you of some of the things that are not happening, or those that are happening but not in the proper manner. And so I want to urge not only those who are here tonight or within the hearing of our voices from the speakers, but even to those who are listening online, wherever you are, to please listen carefully to the speakers. Listen to the message. For too many times, we sometimes turn on or turn off based on who is delivering the message. Don't worry about the messenger. Listen to the message, because what you do after that will be of importance. And so, we waste no more time, but we get things rolling. And our first speaker that I will call to come to the podium to greet you and speak to you. Let's give him a round of applause to welcome him, Mr. Christopher Diali.
The house solid and the pillars strong. Don't stop the progress. We moving on. The house solid and the pillars strong. Don't stop the progress. Take a good look around.
Good evening, my St. David's family. My brothers and sisters. Whether you are sitting at home on your phone, on your iPad, watching at your bed, I would like to tell you all good evening, good night, and welcome. Thank you for tuning in. This is a monumental moment for our country, Grenada. I am standing here in this beautiful parish of St. David's. It is a place defined by its people. It is defined by love. And you cannot get a better candidate than Sister Nolene Thompson. Sister Nolene is more than a colleague. She's a sister to me. She's the one who keeps it very real with me. She sometimes says the uncomfortable truth, gives me the most brutal tongue lashing sometimes, and then smiles, gives me a hug, and says, don't worry, we're in this together. That is a candidate. That is a leader. And to her mother, thank you for the gift you have given this country. I haven't just felt the love in your house, but I've eaten many plates of it. Sheila, I would like to say that in the NNP, we aren't just a political party. We are a family. We argue, we fight, but love is our North Star. Love of family, love of country, love of God, and love for every single Grenadian in this country. That is the DNA of the new national party. I am honored not just to hold onto that legacy, but I want to lift it up for a new generation of Grenadians to stand tall under this umbrella of the new national party. Our youth are not looking for less. They are really not looking for less. They aren't fooled by AI-generated images of future plans that never leave a computer screen. This is a generation that has survived global recessions, hurricanes, and I heard a very painful story. I was listening and I was hearing Citizen Rollo, as we all know. He was lamenting. Almost, to me, it was a situation that really tugged on my heartstrings. In the Lackalome area, imagine living on a property for 16 years. 16 years. Only to be told after the fact that you may have to be put out later on, that you may be able to lose out. How heartless is that? How can a government claim to be for the people when they aren't even fighting for the people's right to a roof over their heads? Where is the vision? Where are the public-private partnerships to build starter homes for our youth? Where are the solutions to our traffic problem, like the multi-story parking garages that is needed to keep local capital and wealth in this country for Grenadians, in Grenadian pockets? You aren't hearing about those plans, are you? You're simply not. Because they simply do not have a clue. They give you excuses. They talk about geopolitics, about a global landscape, and all these other excuses. I ask them, where is your intellectual flexibility? Where is your proactive leadership? Our communities don't need a geography lesson. They need a government that cares. In the South, where I'm from, I see the same missed opportunities that plague our country nationally. I see the pain in every parent's eye. I see when they have to tell their children, we have to turn off the lights tonight extra early because the income stayed the same while the cost of living soared. I see our elderly, the giants whose shoulders we stand on today, choosing between medication or a meal. Where is the dignity in that? Where is our Great South plans? Where are the actions to give people the opportunity to succeed? Where is the urbanization of our community to meet our needs? Instead, we get black and white paint on the side of the road, some flowers on Wall Street, and some bush being cut down in the park. And that is a vision for the South? They call it Heroes Park, but they now call it Saltfish Park. I mean, come on. I think of our fishermen, from Grenada to Calais to Woburn. These are proud men who used to bring in 70,000+ a fortnight for their families. That money didn't just stay with them. It went into the shopkeeper hands, the mechanic, the bar owner, and today, that sector is in a stranglehold. There are many sectors in this country under pressure. We're approaching one of our busiest seasons this year, our carnival season. And given the economic situation that we are facing, what is the government doing to boost it even further? What are they doing to help the local promoters, the men who take their hard-earned cash and risk it time and time again? Where are the incentives to make sure their goods come off their port early and efficiently with the lowest tax possible? So these guys, when they're competing with other international promoters from Trinidad and St. Lucia and from the United States, that they have a chance to succeed. That is the thinking we need to have as a government, as a people. How do we make our people better? How do we make our people succeed in an international world where it's getting harder and harder? That is the thinking we need to have. Where is the creative industry boosting our cultural product, such as soca? Can new emerging artists get the studio time and mentorship needed to elevate them on the international stage? Can we combine this mentorship with some training in financial literacy to make sure these young men and women have the tools needed to not just make a living, but to provide generational wealth for next generation, to make sure there's money set aside for investment and further growth of the industry and its people? These are the ideas we need to combine from the present, from the past, and to elevate to the future. Supporting our people so that they have a fighting chance in an ever so competitive world. Make it make sense to me, please. This administration doesn't find ways to make our lives easier. They just heap the cost of mismanagement on the people. The government takes foreign trips, stays in fancy hotels, and comes back with what? I am praying they don't come back and tell us they went Africa and come back with 1,000 fishing rods. That will just be nonsense. We need a government that doesn't just hear the struggle, but sees the solution. They talked about testicular fortitude, but where is it? Mr. Nolene Thompson for St. David's. So this current representative can catch his next flight because that is what he likes to do. We need to put the people back at the center stage. We need the new national party. We need to make economic growth and fiscal discipline a priority again. We need the new national party. We need health and investments in agriculture that actually lives and feed families. We need the new national party. St. David's, the time is near. Tell your neighbors, tell everyone around you. This new dispensation of the new national party, we ain't playing around. We got the ideas, we have the empathy, and we have the will to get it done. Join us, my people. Join us. We are on the move. We never relent. We never lose hope. Because we as Grenadians, when we are together, we can accomplish anything in front of us. Thank you very much and have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. DJ. That was Christopher Diali. Yes, with NNP, we can do it. We have done it before. We will do it again, giving people an opportunity, giving people a chance to survive. I know there are a lot of people out in the veranda. There aren't much seats, but maybe one or two if we could identify them so you can take them one by one. But we got to keep moving. Time is going. And I want to bring another brother to speak to you. He won't be very long. He's a gentleman that has quite a lot to do. So, he has been in the politics of this country for quite a while. It is his first opportunity as a candidate. And we know with the support of the people all over Grenada, because he's well known there, but especially the people in Southeast St. George, lift your hearts and your hands and welcome Brother Dwight Oxford to speak to us.
We on the move and ain't nobody could stop us now. We on the move and ain't nobody could stop us now. We on the move and ain't nobody could stop us now. Dandea.
Sing, sing, sing.
Dandea.
Sing, sing, sing.
Dandea. Dandea.
Everybody needs somebody.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we know.
Oh yeah.
You need me and I need you.
Oh yeah.
The feeling we show. Although always a stick
That's right.
getting in our way. Don't want we to move on. Don't want we see your way.
Show them.
Show them. Show them. Show them. Show them.
Thank you, my sisters and brothers. Mr. DJ, thank you. The time is short. Good evening, my dear friends, sisters and brothers. Love in the house. Love in the house. Love is indeed in the house of the New National Party. My friends, I want to take the opportunity now to first and foremost recognize my good brother, Master of Ceremonies, Brother Bola. You notice we have the same shirt. This NNP shirt is from the 2008 campaign. And that is your very special and hard-working candidate, Sister Thompson, Sister Nolan Thompson. Up. I want you to work hard with her, not just for a campaign, because this thing is about the country. It's about governance. It's about leadership. It's about helping our people. When you reflect on the candidate that you have, you see all the attributes of good NNP leadership. Love, consistency, compassion, and she brilliant, and she persevering. So my sisters and brothers, we are on our road to victory with Sister Nolan Thompson. Now there are a few speakers, and I don't want to take the win out their sail, but there are a few things I want to highlight to you, a few things I want to mention. Now these are very serious times, and we have to take the challenges that the country faces very seriously. But we must never forget that we are all Grenadians. We don't have to follow the Dubai Limers and say that you have to know who is your people so that you could get and who don't get it. That is not the NNP way, sisters and brothers. The challenges are indeed serious. Many of us are feeling it firsthand, especially when you're going to shop or in a supermarket. But as we take the challenges serious, and as we want to see a difference in our country, we must remember the politics is how your vote is not how we live. We have to live good with one another. And this is the characteristic of NNP. We must always live good with people. And that storm tells us that there is a looming conflict that can put the whole world in tension and strife. See what is developing in the Middle East. And even though it is thousands of miles away from us, we must be conscious and we must be watchful, because it can and will affect us. In so many ways it will affect us. In the fuel prices, a rise in fuel prices means rise in the cost of foodstuff. It means things are getting more expensive. And Sister Thompson is in the tourism business. It means that the tourism industry is vulnerable. And so why is this important, sisters and brothers? What that had to do with government? Well, you need a government that understands those issues and understands the external shocks and knows how to put together a contingency plan to protect and safeguard our people. And there is only one party that has demonstrated on historical record in this country, when there are all sorts of crises in the world, one party has demonstrated that they could keep ship Grenada sailing steady in the storm, and that is the new National Party. Now one curtain has fallen and a new one has come up with a new generation of NNP coming forward, offering themselves to the people of this country. This venture, as one of my colleagues calls it, is not an easy thing for some of us who have volunteered and offered ourselves, answered the call in this regard. It is not an easy thing for your families. It's not an easy thing on your life. But the new National Party, and we in the new National Party, we, this team of the new National Party, we believe that this commitment to service is not about ourselves, but it is about our country, sisters and brothers. This is not about reels and posing in meetings and flights to Africa. This is about the hard business of government doing the work of the people. This is about commitment. This is about compassion. This is about dedication to you, my sisters and brothers, to you, the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Now, my brother Diali pointed out a number of things to you. The lived experience of our people in Grenada, particularly those that are in a vulnerable position of losing their homes. Sisters and brothers, the new National Party will never put nobody out of their house. We don't put people out of their homes, sisters and brothers. We are a party of compassion. We are a party that loves people. And you could see that among all of us inside here. So when the Dubai Limers tell you about you don't no longer have any reader issue and reader off the table, who interested in that? That gone already. We want road. We want good health care. We want the cost of living come down. Do something. That is what we want to hear about. And you have, and you will hear from my sister tonight, how she will attend to you, my dear friends in St. David. And I want you to listen to her. And when you listen to her, I want you to compare what she says and what she's already doing amongst you in the community with the Dubai Limers. And that comparison is a chalk and cheese one. Not so? Before I take my seat, because it's just greetings I wanted to bring to you and remind you of a few things. I think it is important we in NNP. You know, sometimes we does be we worst enemy. We own worst enemy. When we hear this stupid talk on the road or a little piece of propaganda, we come in and spread it. Don't bring that here. Don't bring that here. Blow your nose where you catch a cold. Don't bring that here. Leave that all day with them. Because that is all they can do. They have no record to to show, but to create confusion. And I want you, sisters and brothers, as you lift this new team, Sister Nolene and the rest of us, up on your shoulders, and also in prayer, I want you also to give thanks and tribute, recognize and respect the foundations that we are standing on. Sister Nolene and I and the rest of us, we are standing on the shoulders of my good brother here. We're standing on the shoulders of Brother Oliver Joseph. And we pay tribute to him. We are standing on the shoulders of Brother Gregory Byrne. And we pay great tribute to him as he continues to lift us up and to help us, to guide us. We are standing on the shoulders, my friends, of the legend, the Right Honorable Dr. Keith Mitchell. So you see, whereas we are coming in with some guidance, the Dubai Limers and have no guidance. They have no compass. All they have is PR spin. And the PR not matching the reality on the ground. And they're living in that bubble in that they believe in it, you know. They breathe in their own fart. They believe in it. They ain't even seeing the big disconnect with the people on the ground. But that is not the NNP, sisters and brothers. Because if God be with you, who can be against you? If God be with us in a new national party, who can be against us? So my sisters and brothers, hold the fort. Hold the fort. Thank you so very much. Have a good night.
This one dedicated to all Grenadans. Yeah, man. Wave your hands. Hey, hey.
NNP, we marching on.
We want to thank Brother Dwight, and as I've said in the beginning, let us forget about the messenger. Listen to the message. Very fundamental things were said. Look at what is happening. We see a lot, as he said on TV, PR stunt. The amount of things that are happening in agriculture, only in Pitia. Talk to the farmers. Talk to the real people. Talk to the fishermen. And they will tell you. I just want to recognize the presence of the parliamentary rep, my own parliamentary rep from St. Andrews Northeast, Sister Kate Skeeter Lewis. And as you gave her a warm welcome, there's a gentleman here that cannot be missed. He shines. You see him from a mile away. He represents purity. He's a gentleman that has worked extremely hard and made a lot of sacrifice for this country. Some of us are probably a little too young to understand what he did, how much he would have done in time of crisis. A two-time winner and parliamentarian, minister, and at one time served in the position of, at those times, it was Her Majesty's opposition. But he's here to speak to us about reality, the reality of what's happening in our country tonight. And St. David's, I say to lift your voices, clap your hands, as an invite, a friend and a colleague of the new National Party, Brother Baptiste.
All Grenadans. Yeah, man. Wave your hands. Hey, hey.
NNP, we marching on. Marching on to victory. NNP, we marching. NNP, we
gentlemen, a pleasant evening to every one of you. Please forgive my little lateness. The rain and other things caused me. I am so delighted to be here. When I look at the weather condition, I said, you know, it looked like it's gonna rain today. You elected a progressive woman from St. David's, was the late Cynthia Gary. Let's elect Sister Norian Thompson tonight. Let us elect her. She have all the attributes of the late Cynthia Gary. A good politician is not one who can strong a set of degrees, certificates. The qualification to be a good politician and a good parliamentary representative, you must love people. Sister Norian Thompson fit that description. She will make a difference in the lives of everybody. So tonight, I urge you, those who have not yet registered, those of you who have children who have not registered, get them registered and ensure that the next election we elect a parliamentary I must confess. And you know why? She speaks about people's issue with a passion. I heard her talk about youth development, skills training for young people. And I said to myself, you know, if time permit, maybe I might join her in establishing a skill. Sister Norian Thompson understands issues, understand what's going on in St. David's. She will be a wonderful, wonderful parliamentary representative for you, the people. And I want to compare her with her opponent, a glad boy. A man who is using his position not to help people, but to showcase himself around the Caribbean. You, the people of St. David's, voted for Deacon Mitchell. Well, the people of St. David's. The majority of the people of St. David's. Because we believe in the Westminster-style democracy. But you know, on every issues affecting Grenada, he never one day come to you, the people of St. David's, and talk to you about the problem affecting Grenada. Did he come here and talk about the United States request to install a radar here? Did he come to St. David's? Did he come here to talk to you about bringing in nurses from Ghana? I didn't hear that. He didn't come. Huh? Did he come here to talk to you about he hugging up Modera while the United States was looking for Modera? He said he have to talk to the people of the OECS. Hello? Did the people of the OECS elected Deacon Mitchell? The job of a leader is to represent first and foremost the people that elected you. He had a guy in St. Vincent as his trusted advisor. The people of St. Vincent say none of that, they vote him out. And I'm expecting you, the people of St. David's and Grenada, to vote him out the way you vote out the guy in St. Vincent. And here is what the guy in St. Vincent told him. October 19th. One of the saddest day Grenada history. The guy in St. Vincent told him that he should declare that day Heroes Day. How sad. The 365 days in the year, and the only day Deacon Mitchell could choose as a Heroes Day is the day when people line up people against a wall and blow their heads up. Come on, brothers and sisters. Hello? So tonight, we're going to talk about the stewardship of Deacon Mitchell. He liked to compare himself with Morris Bishop. And he said some time ago, you must take out your light and shine in honor of Bishop, because Bishop left us a free Grenada. That was a lie. On October 19th, when Morris Bishop was killed, Grenada was in a state of war with the United States of America. You remember that? We must correct that. We must teach history to our young people so they know the truth. This Prime Minister set out to divide Grenada, Carriacou, and P.T. Martinique. He started off by saying on a platform, the only reason why you are eating because he didn't know you're supporting another political party. That is called economic genocide. When you're campaigning, when you're a political leader, you may be political leader of a party. But after you're elected, you become Prime Minister of all the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and P.T. Martinique. You notice today, crime is on the upsurge in Grenada. It pains me to say that the National Democratic Congress created 2 sets of laws in Grenada, and they send a dangerous message to criminals that if you're a Kakabawi, there's a law for you, but if you belong to the Gouache, there's another set of laws for you. And it's quite evident on how they're governing today. Quite evident. You heard the Prime Minister. Such a tragedy young woman lost her life. Young woman lost her life. Prime Minister is blaming the mother and the family of the victim. How sad. And in his words, he said, where were the parents when that 18-year-old was involved with a married person? You know what's sad about that? There was someone, a young man who lost his life, John T. Did the Prime Minister ever talk to the nation about the marital status of the man who killed John T? So sad. So sad that the Prime Minister is blaming the parents. And I want you to lend me your ears, please, if you can. Not long ago in our parliament, the Prime Minister is proposing a law that would give a 12-year-old child responsibility over her protective system. And if you don't understand that, it simply means that you as parents, fellow Grenadians at home, and those of you in the diaspora, the Prime Minister was proposing that a 12-year-old child can go into a medical facility and terminate a pregnancy without you, the parents, knowing what happened. She don't have to tell you. So here you have, and you know sometimes we say, mouth open, words jump out. So a 12-year-old can make decisions, but an 18-year-old who's making a decision in a consensual relationship is blaming the parents. And I say here tonight, it didn't matter whether the monster was married, whether he is single. A monster is a monster. And we should never blame parents. Because sometimes you the parents, we the parents, I may say, because I do have young children, sometimes we are the last to know. And we must show sympathy and support. But let us look at the present situation in Grenada. Our economic situation. Across the length and breadth of Grenada, you can hear people crying out, things are slow. And the only people who are rejoicing and saying things happening is members of the National Democratic Congress. And why are things happening for them? Before they got into office, before they sat down and even look at the job ahead of them, they took 2 huge salary increases. Civil servants, please take note. You have to go through a performance appraisal before government will give you a 2%. Did Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell and his team go through performance appraisal before they raised their salary twice? Brothers and sisters, Grenada today is at a crisis. This present NDC administration does not have a clue as how to solve Grenada problem. Cost of living. The only way we can solve the cost of living crisis is to reduce on the taxes of basic commodities that our poor people using. Can the NDC seriously talk about cost of living reduction when they themselves created the high cost of living for you, the ordinary people? Sometimes you, the people, have to determine whether you want to pay a bill or whether you want to send your children to school. Tax on water. And I think today the Prime Minister say, today is Water Day in the Prime Minister's ministry. Did I hear that? But Water Day means for you, the people, a day when you have to be careful as to how much water you use. Because your water will get disconnected. And when your water gets disconnected, you have to pay more in the service charge than what the actual bill is. Ladies and gentlemen, are you here with me? Are you feeling that pinch? Have any one of you here tonight water been disconnected for under $100 and then you have to pay $320 to get the water turned on? Plus the reconnect fee? Plus the bill? Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to get together and elect Sister NNP, Sister Nolan Thompson. Let's not stop here. Let's take a few minutes on our Prime Minister, Deacon Mitchell. We had a Hurricane Beryl. Millions of dollars from CREF was paid to the government of Grenada. You know what he did? He made Andy Williams the de facto Minister of Finance. Now today, we are witnessing, we are experiencing the problems from making Andy Williams Minister of Finance. Millions of dollars were spent from CREF money. And today, ladies and gentlemen, there's people in Carriacou, still on the tarpaulin, people in St. Patrick's, still on the tarpaulin. And he fired Andy Williams in his own way. You notice now he don't making him acting Prime Minister anymore. He take another one in St. Andrews. Lennox Andrews. And you know, I must admit, Lennox Andrews used to be a good friend of mine. And he was a very, very nice gentleman until he associated himself with the NDC. And he catch the NDC cuss. He lying. He running. He telling you all kind of stories. He's Minister of Fisheries. And I was coming in and I heard Brother Diali talking about the fishing industry. And it's rather sad. $50 million in export earning. All of that disappear. All because of the negligence, not just of Lennox Andrews, the Prime Minister. That fishing industry, that fishing ban, it had a lot to do with the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister was never in the country. And today as we stand here, we still under the ban. The Prime Minister was on GBN, and he said the ban will end at the end of January. This is the end of February. You see, brothers and sisters, you elected a man that wants to solve all problems in the world. He wants to help the Venezuelan people. Today, the Venezuelan people are quite happy. You don't see no demonstration in Venezuela. He criticized the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Today, Trinidadians can go to the U.S. Embassy and without hesitation, Trinidadians could enter the United States without a problem. We as Grenadians, we face a travel restrictions. We face a travel ban, travel advisory warning. We face problems with the Postal Corporation. And we can ship fish to the United States of America. And he's in CARICOM criticizing America and Trinidad. Trinidad today is better off than Grenada. Next week, the Trinidadian Prime Minister is heading to Washington to meet with the U.S. officials to discuss benefits for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I want to advise the Prime Minister. He must go online and look at an old Broadway play. And the play is Your Hands Too Short to Box with God. We don't have to like Donald Trump, but we have to bat in our crease because we depend on America for our survival, our fishing, our tourism. Why this Prime Minister continue to believe that he could be a Morris Bishop? Morris Bishop never lived in a $26,000 an apartment. Morris Bishop loved the women. You know, some time ago, the Prime Minister again, there were unsafe, unstable explosives in Point Saline. And while he away in Africa, Andy Williams may have called him and advised him and then say, well, let it destroy it. Unsafe explosives were transported all the way from Point Saline to St. Andrews. telescope. And brothers and sisters, through the negligence of this Prime Minister, the entire St. Andrews, not just telescope, but the entire village could have been destroyed. And you know what was sad? A few weeks after the Prime Minister ordered the unstable explosive to telescope, he was in telescope, he and Andrew, dancing as a girl. Skanking. No, I didn't say the Prime Minister as a girl, and I say he was dancing as a girl. So, brothers and sisters, I want to say to you tonight, we have to resurrect agriculture. We have to make Grenada nice again. We have to make it good for our fishing industry to be vibrant again. And we could only do so when you vote out Deacon Mitchell and the Glad Boys, and you elect a group of people that can send a team to Washington. Grenada problem cannot be solved by Deacon Mitchell and his group. The problem is too great. America is telling you they don't want to see Deacon Mitchell. America is telling you, the Grenadian people, that if you want to get a visa to go see your family in America, make your situation right at home. Vote out Deacon Mitchell and the Glad Boys. You know, I don't know whether that's get them, you know. They have one in St. Andrews Northeast. They have one in St. Andrews. I don't know where that's come from, you know. They have a NDC one in St. Andrews Northeast. And Sister Kate, trust me, we will be there with you. That imposter in St. Andrews Northeast, she don't want to serve in government. Sister Kate gave up her job as a teacher in SAS to serve in convent, to serve you, the people. But you have an imposter, thanks to Uncle Gary, that brought in FDU, and they're making big money in SDU today. She want to eat her cake and still have it. So she want to come and tell you, vote for her. She don't want to serve you. So what's the point? And when the team in St. Andrews is ready, we will be there because we have to ensure that the 4 seats in St. Andrews St. David's, you must join St. Andrews. The 4 seats in St. Andrews must go towards the new National Party. And you know, they asked me on social media, what is it NNP promise you? What is it Dr. Mitchell and the leader NNP promise you while you're on their platform? Tonight I will tell you what they promised me. They promised me that when Sister Emmeline Pierre is sworn in as Prime Minister, October 19th will never be a Heroes' Day. They promised me that the very day Sister Noreen Thompson, Sister Kate Lewis, and Sister NNP has sworn in, they will remove that heartless tax on water. They promised me that never again on Independence Day, when Grenadians are accustomed to jumping and celebrating independence, Deacon Mitchell sent his security forces to penalize Grenadians for celebrating on Independence Day because they did not come to the stadium to watch he and he pink shoes. So with all of these promises, I will ensure that if you need my voice across Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique to ensure that we rid Grenada of Deacon Mitchell and his glad boys, I will be there with you. Thank you so much.
This one dedicated to all Grenadians. Yeah, man. Wave your hands. Hey, hey.
NNP, we marching on.
We want to thank Brother Baptiste. But as you clap for him and all the many good things he told you, let's keep our clapping going on. Please, let's hear it one more time for Brother Baptiste. And Mr. DJ, let me get them appropriate music right now, right this moment. Put on the music appropriately so. As we welcome our political leader. Make a little for the comment. Yes. Welcome, Brother Green. Welcome, Dr. Adrian Joseph. Welcome, political leader. Welcome. Please, make some room. Come forward. Yes, the meeting must go on. NNP Connect. We must go on. Thank you. I see a lady down in the back, she's still dancing. The music stopped, but she ain't stopping dance. Happy. NNP, nice people. Thank you very much. All right, let's settle down. Ladies and gentlemen, let us bring on. We're getting there. We have heard it. We have gotten a lot of history from Mr. Baptiste. And now we want to move on to the lady of the hour. St. David's people say, They want to vote lady to dance like lady, not man that dancing like lady. Yes? So please, let us welcome. She is a phenomenal woman, a businesswoman, a mother, a wife, with a big, the house is our symbol, but her heart is so big that I think it covers all the heart that NDC has. So she's going to serve us well. I want you to show, ladies and gentlemen, some appreciation to our sister, our candidate for St. David, Sister Nolan Thompson.
Wanting this for a while, deal with them in a style. When stars align, greatness outshines all the achieving space and time. So still we rise, with grace and with faith in the morning, with chains and oil. I am the backpack and I'm ready. Rum in the backpack and I'm ready. Promoter done laughing already with the backpack and the heavy owner. They go out to the job, job and a pay. Oil fresh like today.
Thank you. Thank you, St. David's. Our political leader, Honorable NNP, my colleague, candidates who's here tonight, members of the executive, and I want to give a shout out to Mr. Oliver Joseph for coming tonight to support me, guys. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Tonight, friends, I'm going to speak some very uncomfortable truths. Some may not get the applause, but we have to speak it, and we have to speak it here tonight. I'm standing here in Corinth, but I want you to know that this conversation is bigger than Corinth. It reaches every polling division in this constituency, every village, every household where people are doing everything they are taught to do and still finding it hard to breathe. I know we have a lot of people outside. There's a lot of you outside, and I want you to be able to hear me tonight. Yes? I know they said the hall is way too small. Next time, we'll do it even bigger. Yes? Friends, I'm here tonight because I'm concerned. Not as someone who's looking for attention. I'm concerned as a representative of this constituency. And I'm concerned as a Grenadian who loves this country enough to tell the truth about what we're living through and to insist that it does not have to be this way. Because there are moments in a nation's life when silence becomes too expensive, when pretending becomes too dangerous, when leadership has to speak plainly, not to divide people, but to bring people back together around what matters: work, dignity, opportunity, and fairness. Now I'll start with something that may be uncomfortable, but it is real. In St. David's today, the dominant occupation is unemployment. Not farming, not fishing, not tourism. Unemployment. And if unemployment becomes the main occupation of a constituency, that is not a failure of the people. That is failure of leadership. Because the people of St. David's are not afraid of work. They are not short of talent. they are not short of will. What they are short of right now is opportunity. What they are short of right now is a government acting with the urgency this moment demands. Friends, government does not spend its own money. Government spends your money, our money. Money earned before sunrise and money stretched long after sunset. Money that must make groceries last, electricity stay on, school expenses covered, rent paid, and still find a way to keep a little hope alive. And yet, too often today, taxpayers' money is being spent as if it has no source, like it came by magic. Trip after trip, delegation after delegation. And when they return, what do the people receive? No full accounting, no clear reporting, no measurable results, just announcements, just photographs, just MOUs. My friends, MOUs do not feed families. They do not create jobs. They don't lower your grocery bills. And they don't reduce the cost of living. This is not just a St. David's problem. This is a Grenada problem. Because leadership isn't about being seen. It is about being present. It is about being accountable. It is about telling the people the truth even when it's inconvenient. And yes, in the age of social media, it is easy to create the appearance of engagement. A brief visit, we see it. A camera crew, a well-edited video. But governance is not performance. A country cannot be run on optics. A people cannot be fed on applause. A future cannot be built on likes and shares. The measure of leadership is simple. Are people living better? So I want to ask you, the people of St. David's tonight, how has your standard of living improved over the past 4 years? Are your groceries easier to buy? Is electricity easier to pay? Is rent or your mortgage more manageable? Are you saving more? Because for too many families, the answer is painful. People are working harder and affording less. They are surviving, but they are not getting ahead. Friends, if you want to understand a government's priorities, you have to look at housing. Housing reveals whether we see people or whether we only see numbers. Right here in Corinth, the Chinese housing development was created with a clear purpose. Homes for low-income families, homes for working people, homes for single parents, for the elderly, for those who needed a fair shot. That was the promise of the NNP. That was the intent under the NNP. But under this current administration, that intent has been distorted. Some of the houses were sold. Some remain unoccupied. Some have gone to people who do not live here and is now using it as vacation homes. And while this is happening, there are families right here catching rainwater in buckets. And I want to tell you about a family I met. She's a single mother, working full-time. She's the only breadwinner. She's a mother of 8 young children, all minors. Now, when the rain falls, she doesn't rest. She moves buckets, pots, bowls, whatever she finds. Now, the government officers came because she went to them. They assessed the roof. They approved the repairs. But days later, she got a call. Not because the children stopped needing shelter, and not because the roof stopped leaking, but because her salary on paper, without context, was considered too much. Too much even though every dollar is committed. Too much even though she carries a household on her shoulders. Too much even though the roof still leaks. Now, this is not policy. Friends, that is punishment. That is a system that can count numbers, but can't recognize human struggle. And that is not the Grenada we want to be. Friends, I'm going to go to a part that deeply troubles me, because when I walk around this constituency, I'm not sure if it's because I'm a woman or because I'm a mother. A lot of people tells me a lot of stories, and these stories are sometimes very uncomfortable to listen to. Now, I have met a young woman about a week ago, and she told me, you know, the funny part is that when my field workers went out and they spoke to her, she had no interest at all, none. And when I came and I started speaking to her, she actually confessed to me that she has always been, and her family has always been, supporters of the current government. And as a lot of them, I guess, would say that, you know, it's our time now, she felt it was our time now, it was my time now. So she went to seek assistance. And instead of receiving support, she was asked for something in return. Not paperwork, not documentation, but she was asked for a special favor. Now, she refused. And because she refused, she was denied the assistance. Now, let me say this clearly. I do not care which party is in office. No woman should ever have to compromise herself to receive assistance. Public support is not something to be exchanged behind closed doors. It is not leverage. It is not a bargaining chip. And if there are people anywhere in this country abusing positions of authority to exploit vulnerability, it must stop immediately, because wrong is wrong. Leadership is not only about roads and budgets. Leadership is about protecting dignity. And as I said before, it doesn't matter which government is in power. We know it has happened in the past, and it is happening now, and it must stop. And as uncomfortable as that was, there is more. I met an elderly woman. Now, this lady has to be, I would say, probably in her late 60s, early 70s. And she has some developmental delays. And she told me that she has no peace at night. Men knock at her door night after night, forcing their way into her home. Imagine living like that. Imagine being afraid in your own home. This is not politics, this is humanity. And when she remembers who the people are, and she mentions it, then she will get plan-assed. Now, is this how we must act? We must ensure that systems are in place to protect our most vulnerable citizens. Systems that respond, systems that intervene, and systems that hold people accountable. So when you see them walking around with their cameras, taking photo ops, these are the issues that they need to address. These are the things that they need to promote and they need to stop. Because no elderly woman should live in fear in her own home. No vulnerable person should feel abandoned. And no community should turn a blind eye when someone among us is in danger. So tonight I say to the authorities, to our communities, and to all of us as citizens, when we see vulnerability, we must respond. When we hear cries for help, we must act. And when the safety and dignity of our people are threatened, we must stand up and say enough. Because the true measure of leadership and the true measure of our society is how we protect those who cannot always protect themselves. Now, I want to speak directly to the women of St. David's and to the women across this nation. Women, girls, I see you. Women carry this country in our homes, in our workplaces, in our communities. And too often, they do it quietly, without fanfare, without thanks, without enough support. And we tell mothers, breast is best. We encourage bonding. We speak about giving children the strongest start in life. But then we turn around and give women only 3 months maternity leave. 3 months. I met a young mother recently who's back at work, still healing, still in pain, and she was pumping between her tasks, trying to hold herself together while her baby, only 3 months, was already in daycare. Not because she wanted to, but because the system left her no choice. That is what policy looks like in real life. And a society that does not protect its mothers cannot claim to protect its future. Because when you invest in mothers, you invest in children, you invest in families, you invest in stable communities. And supporting women is not charity. It is nation building. And it is overdue. So tonight I say clearly, 3 months is not enough. If we truly believe that children are the future of this nation, then we must give mothers the time they need to heal, to bond, and to nurture those children properly. We must begin a serious national conversation about extending maternity leave in Grenada, about ensuring that mothers are supported, not pressured, in those critical early months of life. We must look at policies that give mothers adequate time to recover physically, emotionally, and mentally. And we must ensure workplaces have systems that respect mothers, not treat their needs as an inconvenience. And I believe with the right leadership under an Emlyn pair and the new National Party leadership and the right commitment, Grenada can do better for our mothers and therefore do better for our future. My friends, leadership requires sacrifice, but the sacrifice cannot always come from the people. The sacrifice must come from those entrusted to lead. And right now, our country is hurting. Violence is rising. Fear is spreading. Communities are anxious. And in moments like these, people don't need more silence. They need reassurance. They need clarity. They need direction. They need leadership. And they need a government that understands this basic truth. An NNP government. Every Grenadian deserves dignity. Every Grenadian deserves opportunity. Every Grenadian deserves to get. From Latan to Belle Isle, from Vincent's to Mondelez, from Corinth to Westerhall, every farmer, every teacher, every worker, every young person, every elder, every single one of you deserve to get. St. David, I am concerned because I care. And because I care, I believe we can do better. I believe leadership should be present and not performative. I believe accountability should be practiced, not promised. I believe government should raise the standard of living, not explain away the struggles of ordinary people. And that is the vision I hold for St. David. That is the vision that guides the new National Party. Opportunity over optics, presence over performance, unity over division, responsibility over excuses. This is not about personalities, it is about principles. So the choice before us is clear. We can continue on a path of rising costs and shrinking hope, or we can choose progress with purpose. We can settle for less, or we can stand for better. So St. David, tonight, I'm asking you to stand with me. Stand for dignity. Stand for opportunity. Stand for a better standard of living. Stand with the new National Party for St. David, for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, and for a future where everyone gets. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Grenada, Carriacou, and P.T. Matney.
They've been wanting this for a while. Deal with them in a style. When stars align, greatness outshines all created in space and time. So still we rise with grace and with faith in the morning.
That was Sister Nolan Thompson, your next parliamentary representative in St. David's. Stand with her. Stand with us. Let's stand together. And we won't fight. We will vote for what is better. Yes? We will vote the new National Party. I want to recognize that during all the emotions, we had some more candidates joining us. And I will just quickly mention them. And for those of you who doesn't know them, they will stand. And so I start from my far right. And Brother Jelani Glynn, St. Patrick's West, would you please just stand and wave so that I don't know. Which constituency you're, oh, you're not running? Dr. Adrian Joseph, St. George Northwest. Well, I did, but since I'm going down that line, I'll mention again Sister Kate Lewis, as we know, St. Andrews Northeast. Tongue of St. George in the house, Brother Troy Noel. Thank you, thank you. We got to move on. I know not many of us have work, but one or two of you had to go back in the morning to work, so we think. But you know, when Sister Nolan was speaking and she made mention of a particular incident, I don't know how many people inside here is as old as me to remember a calypso was sung by a gentleman who used to be on radio, used to be, I think he's still there, and used Anchor. And he used to dabble a little bit in calypso. And there was an incident that happened and he sang one year. Linda, now you know that song? The preacher want na. Why you all have, all you know it? All you know the song? All right. Anyway, let's leave that right there. I ain't going further with that. Brothers and sisters, we are getting to the place where you would hear a little bit about policy. Every speaker before spoke very well. Sister Nolan concentrated on her constituency in particular, but extended to Grenada. Now, my friends, I want you to join me. Well, let me verify. Mr. DJ, is it you or is it the drum? I don't know. But she's coming on stage. She's coming on stage, and it appears as though it's the drum. For just 30 seconds, we'll get the drum. As I ask you to put your hands together and let us bring on stage our political leader, Sister Emmeline Pierre.
Put your hands together for the soldiers of the party. Brothers and sisters, I recognize tonight all of the candidates who are here tonight from the New National Party. I recognize all of them. How many times did you recognize them, Brother Bo? I'm tempted. I I recognize all of them tonight. But tonight I want to recognize in a very special way, I agree with you, the next parliamentary representative for St. David, Sister Nolene Thompson. I also want to recognize tonight a gentleman who has served this country and served this constituency. Dear friend, Brother Oliver Joseph, we recognize you for the work that you've done in this constituency over the years. May God continue to bless you. Other executive members of the New National Party, soldiers and supporters of the New National Party, I see you have your backpack and you're ready. I see you have your Gideon boots and your khaki suit and you're ready. But tonight I say St. David's. Tonight I say Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique too. I recognize every single person in this room. Brothers and sisters, I listened to Sister Nolene tonight, and there is just one conclusion that I drew from our entire conversation. And I concluded by saying, enough. I conclude by saying, enough is enough. Brothers and sisters, this country has had enough of the National Democratic Congress. And as you said it, we fed up. We are fed up. But I say to you tonight, it is one thing to be fed up. It is one thing to say enough is enough. But it's another thing to take the necessary actions that are necessary to prove that you believe enough is enough. So I say to you tonight, even before I get into my presentation, ensure that every person, which is the majority of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, who is also fed up, I say to you, every person who says to you enough is enough, ensure that they are registered to vote in the next general elections. Because I say to you, if we only continue on this trajectory, I can't say Crapo smoke with pipe because I believe Crapo don't smoke with pipe already. And that is why I say tonight, we are at a serious crossroad in this country. And decisions must not be made just on emotions, how we feel, how hurt we feel, the pain that women feel, the pain that elderly citizens feel, the pain that men who are working on construction sites where the government is paying and they cannot receive salaries. Brothers and sisters, it is not just about how we feel. It is far more than how we feel. Brothers and sisters, it is about the facts. The facts of what we had before and what we have now and what we know we are capable of doing better for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. So when I went to the supermarket, after listening to a family that I visited, and they explained what it cost to put one proper meal on the table, it was a painful exercise. Because you know what? In this country, there are some people who can shop for the month. And there are some people who could only shop one meal at a time. And that is the reality of the situation in Grenada for many people who were not in that situation back in 2022. One shopkeeper said to me, I cannot remember the last year that somebody came to buy quarter pound of something. She said, I cannot remember people coming and ask, what is the price for quarter pound saltfish? Brothers and sisters, the struggle out there is real. And unless we are honest, we are going to continue to defend party and forget the real issues that affect real people in this country. So I say to you, it doesn't matter which party is in government. What matters most is the pain that the people of this country are feeling tonight. The families where one person has worked since December. Imagine this. Since December. And that one person bringing a meal in a home. We are in March. It's my anniversary night. I should be in bed with my husband. We are in March. And brothers and sisters, imagine from December, we telling somebody who is the sole breadwinner in a house that the system have a glitch. Well, I say if the system has a glitch from December to March, the system must also go. The government must go, but the system needs to go as well. Because when people cannot feed their children, they don't care about the glitch. And as I said to you last week, by some miracle, no member of this government and their key supporters are affected by the glitch. What a miracle in this country. So I ask you tonight, brothers and sisters, do you remember the days when people were affected by the rise in fuel costs around the world and the cost of electricity went up? Do you remember when the new National Party removed all VAT on electricity and reduced the non-fuel charge by 25%? Do you remember? Brothers and sisters, I know that you remember. And I ask those who say the cost of living is going up everywhere in the world, I ask them tonight, do you remember when NNP enforced this reduction to reduce the cost of living? Do you remember? In other words, there are things that government could do. Brothers and sisters, I ask you tonight, do you remember when the cost of fuel at the pump was going up? Do you remember? Did the NNP say world crisis? Did the NNP make excuses? Did the NNP say its hands are tied? What did the NNP do? It capped the cost of gas at the pump. And NNP say anytime it goes over $15, Brother Oliver, NNP will take on the additional cost for the busmen, for the private vehicle owner, for the people of this country who are affected. Brothers and sisters, do you remember? I ask you tonight, and I'm asking these questions for a reason. because it appears that some people are prepared to defend their party to the grave. Because if this thing continues, people will die in this country because they cannot eat. Brothers and sisters, I ask you, do you ever remember the NNP putting a VAT on sugar, an essential commodity that almost every family would buy in this country? Do you remember us doing that? Brothers and sisters, I say to you tonight, NNP understand when people are in pain. NNP doesn't just understand because you say you are in pain. We feel your pain. We feel your struggle. And we don't just create excuses. What do? We take action to address the issues. I say to you, put your hands together for NNP tonight. And that is why I ask you tonight, do you remember? You know, there's a song like that. I ain't going to be like Brother Bowler and sing those songs. But I ask you, do you remember in the COVID crisis when civil servants could not come out to work for months? Do you remember when taxi men could not make a trip? They had to lock up inside. Do you remember how fishermen were affected and farmers were affected? And do you remember what NNP did? Subsidies, financial support to help those who needed help. Do you remember? Do you remember? Do you remember, brothers and sisters? What did the NNP do for those people that were on seed? The people, like every part of the world, where you would have people who need the government support, whether you go to New York or you go to England, even some of our families benefit from support from governments around the world. Do you remember in the crisis that I spoke about, what did the NNP do to those who were on the seed program? What did the NNP do? We increased it by $150. Do you remember? Brothers and sisters, do you remember after we experienced Hurricane Ivan and the NNP administration saw how we had to depend on people outside of this country and how vulnerable we were? The NNP said, now, we must put something in place to protect our people, to help our taxi men, our fishermen, our farmers, our single mothers. We have to put something in place. And you know what? Women know about that best, where you shove something under the mattress for rainy days. And when everybody run out, you could pull out at $20. That's the NNP for you. That's the NNP for you. And that is why the NNP, when it left office, we were in a position that if burial came, we could help ourselves. If something like Ivan came, we have a start to help ourselves. So we said we're going to put a reserve in place. That is why the Treasury was pregnant with $500,000 in surplus. $500 million. Well, right now, you see, I'm probably so concentrating on what the situation is now. Brothers and sisters, could you imagine? From $500 million in surplus, where are we today under the NDC? We are in a deficit of over $300 million. I say to you, that is enough grounds to vote out the NDC from office. The fact that you inherited $500 million and you wipe it out in less than 4 years, and we are down to a deficit, it is enough reason to pack your backpack and leave. Because you are showing that you do not have what it takes to manage this country. So I say to us, brothers and sisters, this is not simple. This thing is not about politics. This is not about NNP. Don't get fooled, you know. Don't get fooled. This is not about NNP and NDC. This is about a country that we love that is suffering right now from mismanagement. That is what it is about. It doesn't matter who is in office. What matters, we do not have a government that care about the people of this country. So after they add VAT on sugar, after they put a levy on water, after they removed the 25% non-fuel charges that was reduced, they placed it back. After they put back the VAT on electricity, they still had the conscience. They still had the gall to add another tax upon that. Brothers and sisters, on top of that, brothers and sisters, they continue to add all kind of tax, asking us to pay to maintain the road. Jesus, well, this one is the worst. What are we paying for? The charges are going up, and the road is getting worse every day. Brothers and sisters, I say to you tonight, those who hold position governing this country, they ought to know that people in this country need more support. And if they're to take one page from the NNP, is exactly what I just explained. How did the NNP respond to the people when the people were facing a crisis? So this crisis, brothers and sisters, we know that there is imported inflation. We know that things are coming from over. We're not dumb. We're not stupid. We know. But we're not talking about that. We are saying when the price of fuel internationally went up, NNP did not blame international markets. NNP did something, and that is all we are asking them. Do something, because nothing is happening. Brothers and sisters, nothing is happening. Nothing is happening for the people who need the support in government. But I'll tell you where something is happening. So while the government says to us, to the person who was able to buy a pound of turkey wings for $4.50 in 2022 and cannot buy it now for $9.50 and $10 in 2025, listen what they're saying to that person. The world market, financial crisis internationally, the economics overseas affecting locally. What's she talking about? But while they are telling us, tighten your belts, manage yourself, go plant fig and dashing, and that's great. That's great. That's actually great. Let's plant more. But while they're telling us what to do, go and plant fig and dashing, spend less, eat less, manage your weight, don't drink so much sugar. They're telling us all that we need to do. Listen what they're doing for themselves. Brothers and sisters, life in this country is really unfair. So we hear you. Don't buy rice because you cannot afford rice. Go and plant bananas. Well, how long banana taking to bear? What do you do while the banana tree is growing? But while they tell you that, what is unconscionable is that they are not telling you that their salaries went up by 150%. And then they went and they tighten up things. And they put new rules in place. And they boast, they give the police 4%, 4%, 4%. No police officer should celebrate 444 when the government take 150% in 1 year. No police officer should celebrate this. It is like eating the bread and feeding the workers the crumbs while the cost of living continues to go up. But it's not just the fact that they're increasing their salaries. When they travel, ask them about the podium. Ask them, ask Sister Kate and Brother Oliver what theirs used to be. And ask what those in office are taking for themselves now. Traveling around the world, $25,000 just to rent a house for the Prime Minister to live in. Brothers and sisters, I say to you tonight, this cannot be fair. So while the police officers, ask them in Grand Roy Police Station, they have to borrow a vehicle from Guave to do their work. Ask prosecution in Grenville, and they will tell you to do their work. They have to wait for the main departments to make a vehicle available. I am saying to you, while that is happening, government is buying 15 new vehicles for MPs and paying over $75,000 per year to put gas. And don't ask how much it's costing for tires, because you see them up and down, up and down. And ask them about the private work. Ask them about where some of these vehicles are seen, while the police officers are begging for a vehicle. Some of our clinics are begging for an ambulance. That is what they are buying. And even buying luxury vehicles for some in government. I say to you tonight, it's not fair. It cannot be fair for the man or the woman from St. David's who paid $60 a month for the high blood pressure medication. And I can tell you this as a fact. There's a particular high blood pressure medication that went from $60 in 2022. A month's supply is now $190. Do you know what some people are facing out there? So there are people who tell you that they risk their very lives every day because they cannot afford a month's supply of high blood pressure medication. You know what it is to have high blood pressure and not have something to take? Well, I know they're going to say, drink passion fruit juice. That, yeah. Just now they're going to say, drink garlic. Yeah? But I'll tell you, brothers and sisters, what did the new National Party do when it was not even $190? We were working on the national health insurance because we said no one should be denied of basic medication because they don't have the cash in their hand. And what was the dream of the NNP? Take your card, go to the pharmacy, take your card, go to the medical facility, and get the basic services that you need without having to pay. I demand of this government, to immediately get back to the national health insurance plan that the new National Party left in place. Brothers and sisters, we cannot continue on this trajectory. We cannot. And so as I close tonight, brothers and sisters, I want to say to you, this is not a team that is brand new and coming to experiment on you. This is a team of some new, competent, passionate, heart-serving, people-loving candidates combined with people with full experience in government. That is the team that we are presenting to you. But you know what is excellent about the new National Party's team? We have a backup team that is there to support and to give guidance. People who have served for years in government and would make their expertise available, like Dr. Keith Mitchell, Brother Gregory Boeing, and others who have served this country for years. Brother Oliver, with his expertise, brothers and sisters have already said, anywhere that I can help as it relates to the economy of this country and getting it back on foot, I stand ready to serve the people of this country. So we have people who understand service. We have people who are ready to serve because they understood what we did before, and they are ready to do it again. Just one little difference, team. We are going to do it even better the next time around. And we give you that commitment tonight, St. David's. We know the challenges. We know the problem you face. Sister Nolan Thompson and the new National Party team is ready to serve the people of St. David's and Grenada. So I give you the guarantee tonight as I close. Immediately, thank you for the endorsement. You will put Sister Nolan Thompson there. Brothers and sisters, I close with the commitment of the capable team that we are putting together. And in case you want some good news tonight, that's even better than what I said before, I am giving you the commitment that within 1 week time, candidate number 15 will be launched. We backpack and we're ready. But even more importantly is where I'll close. Brothers and sisters, we cannot continue like this. We are ready for the task ahead. Yes, Northwest, I hear you. You're ready. All right. We cannot continue like this. And this is where I'm closing. We are making ourselves available to serve the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And when we return into office, I say to you from day number 1, on the priority list will be to reduce the cost of living in this country. So we are going to take very clear, decisive, immediate steps, starting with electricity, water. Brothers and sisters, things government could do, government must do. Brothers and sisters, I say to you, not just water, not just electricity, brothers and sisters, but there are some essential goods and services that are on a price control list, which means government controls how high it can go. And we are going to review that list immediately. And we are going to do that with the intention to ensure that we can add additional essential items on that list because we understand your pain. So we are going to move in 2 steps. Those immediate things that we can do to put money back in your pocket so you can put food on your table. And brothers and sisters, we are then going to take some urgent actions to stabilize this economy, to stimulate this economy, and to ensure that what we are doing in managing this country is bringing benefit to the people of this country. So I say to you, stand tonight if you're prepared to stand with the new national party. I say to you, lift your hands tonight if you are prepared to stand with the new national party. As I invite the team members who are here tonight, I ask you to join me on stage, because every night that we face our people, we are making a commitment to you that when we return, we are returning to do things better, managing the economy, managing the country, and putting people back to work, putting money in the pockets of our people. May God bless you. May God bless St. David's. May God bless Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitimatnik. We love you. We love you. We love you, St. David.
I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. Yes, every breath that I make, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. You know I love your voice, for you have led me through the fire in darkest nights. You are close like no other.